Hello, everybody. Welcome into episode 8 of the Fantasy Facts podcast. Really excited to be wrapping up our divisional breakdown coverage today. And then we will be shifting into some of that other content that we've mentioned on other episodes. So, looking forward to starting to get into some rankings, some draft tips, some mock drafts. As we really enter draft season, which is going to be really fun. David and I are both looking forward to that. But before we do that, we've got one more division to cover today. We are covering the NFC West and the Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, LA Rams, and Arizona Cardinals. Before we get any further, how's it going, David?
It's going well. Excited to get through the last one of these divisional breakdowns here and hop into some more exciting content to record.
Wow, I think that's disrespectful to the divisional breakdowns.
Just saying, it'll be more fun to talk about my personal, like the rankings for the players and stuff, obviously. Get to kind of tell people how smart I am.
Yeah, but you haven't ever won a fantasy championship, so you can't be that smart.
It's a thing called bad luck, my brother. You know my team's been better than yours most years.
I'm not even gonna respond to that with a comment because you just know that's factually false, especially in the league of record. Yeah. So, anyways, really excited to drop into some more divisional breakdown today. Finish that off, and then we'll be moving into some of that more fantasy football specific content. Just a reminder, these episodes are dropping over on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, the Fantasy Facts Podcast. You can find us over there. We are on X at The Fantasy Facts, TikTok and Instagram, fantasy.facts. As always, facts is spelled F-A-X. Should we jump in?
Let's get it.
Your team's better than mine, LOL. Last year's standings.
Facts don't lie.
I'm the one who brings home money every year, and you're the one who gives me it. So,
Yeah, all right.
am I wrong or am I right?
You don't have your players get hurt all the time. And
That's not true. Everybody deals with that stuff.
And type stuff.
Some of us don't draft Michael Thomas in the first round either. So,
Bro, that was in like 2019, buddy. Shut your mouth.
how are your first few picks this last year? How were they? Brock Bowers was great. That was a good pick.
Who else did I pick? Somebody else I picked was terrible.
You picked your 3 of your first 4 picks were terrible, and you just stayed afloat because you did it pretty well at the end of the draft and
No, I
drafted
did
some
good
guys
after
late.
the first 4 picks because that's where you win drafts.
Yeah, but
don't
you
win
still
it
have to
with your
hit on
first
the
3
big
picks.
players first.
Who did I draft though? I drafted Bowers and
Who was your first round pick? It wasn't
a
great.
running back? No, it was.
wasn't
It was
great.
Jonathan Taylor, and he was awesome. Or no, he was my 3rd round pick. He was awesome though.
Yeah, there was one in your first 4 picks. There was one good player. It was Jonathan Taylor. I
Yeah,
don't
but who
remember
was
who.
the other
I know
guy
you
that I
drafted
had that
Brock
was
Bowers,
terrible?
but
I don't remember. I had somebody that did
he
terrible.
might not have been terrible. He might have got injured. I don't remember the specific circumstance, but
No, I'm just trying to remember. Like, it's bothering me that I don't know who it was though.
anyways, the moral of the story is David has never won the league of record, and I have, and I've also finished second many times. So, his comment about being better than me was kind of funny. Anyways, just a reminder on last year's standings in the NFC West. The Seattle Seahawks won the division. They were 14-3. They were NFC West champs, NFC champs, and Super Bowl champions. This was quite the division, by the way. The LA Rams were in second place at 12-5. They were an NFC wildcard team, and they lost in that NFC championship game very closely to Seattle by only 4 points, I believe. The 49ers finished third. They were also 12-5. They were also an NFC wildcard team. They lost in the divisional round to Seattle. I didn't really remember that, David, but Seattle knocked out both the other teams from their division in the playoffs.
Yeah, I forgot they beat the Niners. I knew they'd beat the Rams, though, in the conference championship.
Yeah. And then to wrap up this division, the sad side of the division, the Arizona Cardinals finished fourth. They were 3-14. I can't say I see it getting much better for Arizona this year. This division's going to be strong again, and they're going to be bad again. But we've been starting from the bottom, David, so I guess we should start with those lousy Arizona Cardinals.
Jamar Chase. That's who I picked, by the way.
Kyler Murray jersey.
I had the first
out.
pick, no?
Jamar Chase. See, there it was, right? Like it wasn't the it was more situational. It was the Joe Burrow injury, but
and then I think my order was Chase, and then I took Bowers and Taylor at the turn.
Yep.
Taylor was a good pick. Chase was still solid. It wasn't like he was terrible, but he had a worse situation than if he was healthy. Bowers sucked. And then I think I took Mike Evans, who was hurt all year. And then James Conner, who got hurt. And then Dak was a great flyer. But I also had like Tet and stuff that were like good sleepers, and they helped me stay afloat. But
correct.
Yeah. I just was bothering me.
So it was basically what I remembered. There was 3 guys that didn't pan out to their expectation, and then Jonathan Taylor was great.
Yeah, it was bothering me.
First
Sorry, I
picks.
just couldn't remember who it was, and I wanted to remember.
No.
So.
Thanks for the context, but like I said, I didn't think it was all you picked terrible players. I just remember they didn't. Like 3 of the 4 first picks didn't work out, so that makes sense. It was injuries and situational a little bit as well. But Brock Bowers was just bad, although he did get hurt too. But even before the injury, he wasn't great. I feel like you were debating Trey McBride for a while, which also kind of sucks because he turned out to be fantastico.
I was sick of having crappy tight ends, so I just wanted a good one. Try it out for once, and I just
punt tight end, man. I love to punt tight end.
I always do. I usually do.
Anyways, let's
punt right into Mark Andrews, and he doesn't catch a ball for 8 weeks, and then have to drop him.
I don't think Mark Andrews is really a punt if you're taking him in like the 10th or 11th round.
No, I was saying the year when I waited and then drafted him when I was like, he's a good value, and he sucked.
I'm a big fan of drafting the tight end with like one of the last 2 or 3 picks in my arsenal. But Arizona Cardinals. Mike LaFleur is the new head coach. He was brought in. He was the offensive coordinator in LA with the Rams, so very familiar with this division, very familiar with the other teams he's going to be facing in this division, which could be a good thing. They retained their defensive coordinator, which I didn't realize. So he is back. He's also, David, I was looking at him today, a University of Minnesota alum, so that was cool. I didn't realize. And I have no idea how this man has a job, but Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive coordinator. I guess he's a puppet offensive coordinator, right? Because Mike LaFleur is going to run that. But yeah, I just couldn't even believe it when I saw his name. I was like, are you kidding me? This guy's still getting work. The NFL is a who you know league, isn't it? Outgoing fantasy contributors, Kyler Murray is the big name. Started the season at quarterback and then was obviously benched in favor of Jacoby Brissett, who extorted a bunch of money out of Arizona this offseason somehow. Apparently Jacoby has negotiating leverage. Then just some fringe players on the way out for Arizona: Greg Dortch, Amari DiMercado, Michael Carter. Michael Carter was fantasy relevant when all 3 or 4 other running backs ahead of him got injured. I had him in a couple of leagues, and I had to spot start him quite a few times, actually, and sometimes it worked out. Incoming fantasy contributors, they did sign Tyler Algier from Arizona at the running back position. The big one that we need to talk about is Jeremiah Love. He was drafted in the first round of this year's draft, the running back out of Notre Dame. He's really freaking good. Carson Beck was also drafted, the quarterback out of Miami, in round 3. I'm not a Carson Beck believer, but I think there's a chance we maybe see him get in a game or 2 this year, depending on how things go for Arizona. So I think we do need to talk about him as well. So for me, the obvious things to talk about with this team are the rookies, but let me know if you view that differently, David.
No, I mean, I don't think there's really anything else to talk about, to be honest.
Well, but we need to have a frank discussion about Jeremiah Love, right?
No, yeah,
He's
Jeremiah
really
Love.
good, but he's going way too early.
No, I am not interested in him in a redraft format. Just because they have too many good running backs right now, and we don't know how they're going to use them out on the field. I do think he's going to play a good amount and probably over the course of the season play more. But if you pay attention, their coach is already talking good about people like James Conner, and that's just not going to bode well for Jeremiah Love this season. If
Just
you're playing
in
a
Jeremiah
dynasty
Love's
format,
defense, Jeremiah Love's defense, the coach that's talking really well about the other running backs is Nathaniel
and
Hackett.
you'll hack
So
it.
that's about
Yes,
as big
I
of
know.
a endorsement as you can get.
But anyways, um, in dynasty, I'm really excited about his future. Probably a top five running back in dynasty format, but in redraft, I am staying away at the price. That's probably all I need to say. Next year, maybe, could be one of those guys that ends up being a big jump into the first round if he starts performing at the end of the season. I just don't think he's going to be doing enough at his value to really help your team make a playoff push because by the time he's playing that much, you're already going to be struggling and have a bad record if you're already having to start him all year.
Yeah, there's no way under the sun I'm taking Jeremiah Love where he's going right now. He's going as a second round pick in pretty much every platform I've seen in a half PPR. Um, it just there's no way you can take him there. It kind of reminds me of Ashton Genty last year, right? Like Ashton Genty, a lot of hype, great running back. In college, looked for sure like he is going to be a great NFL player. But then, like you get into the drafts, and he's going, right at the 1-2 turn, or as a late first round pick, early second round pick, and you're like, there's just there's no way that a rookie on such a terrible team can return on investment at that spot. And for me, that's Jeremiah Love again and his is even worse because at least it was like, okay, well, Ashton Genty's going to get all the work, even though the Raiders are going to be bad, right? But like in this situation, it's like the Cardinals are going to be terrible. He's going to be splitting with two other very capable running backs, and they're going to be losing every single game they play, and the game script is never going to favor him. There's just I cannot comprehend how he's going as high as he's going in your fantasy league. So please, please, please listen to our advice. Do not draft him. Wait until he has a terrible year this year from a redraft perspective, and then he drops or people sleep on him and draft him highly, just like we're telling you to do with Ashton Genty this year. But Dynasty, yeah, go get him. He's amazing. Like, is he the best running back to come out since Bijan? I know Bijan wasn't like crazy long ago, but
Um, I think he's right in that same range. I don't know. I think him and Genty are similar to me. Outlook dynasty
I think
wise.
I like Jeremiah Love as a player better than Ashton
That's fair.
Genty, but
The other thing I was gonna mention about the Cardinals is I think Michael Wilson right now at ADP is a good value. He's as much as I hate to say it, Marvin Harrison is not the player we thought he was going to be in the NFL. So Michael Wilson's going to be the wide receiver one behind Trey McBride, really. And as we saw, if Jacoby Brissett's on the field, he likes to throw him the ball, so he's going to be a good value. Somebody that you can easily flex at the beginning of the season if Jacoby's out there. Until I see otherwise, he's the safer receiver to own in that offense.
I don't know if he's the safer receiver to own, but like if I'm investing any draft capital in Arizona, I'm gonna invest it in Michael Wilson because he costs you nothing. Um, I'm not willing to take a stab on Marvin Harrison in the range that he's going with the other players around. And as I said, I don't draft tight ends early, so I'm not going to be in on Trey McBride, even though he's very, very fun. And I have him in my keeper league, which is very, very fun.
Trey McBride in Dynasty was so fun to have, dude. It's so fun. It's just as an
Yeah,
ADP and redraft, he's on like it's so tough.
it's going to really, really hurt, dude. I have to keep him for a 17th round pick this year in keeper league. It's going to be tough. Or maybe a 16th. I'm not sure.
Oh no, 1 round earlier.
Dude, the keeper league, I'm really struggling with who to keep though. Like Trey McBride's obvious because I can keep him for like a 16th round pick and he's arguably the number one tight end. But like I have like three other guys that I could consider at the second keeper and I'm really struggling. I can keep Drake May for like I want to say like a 10. I can keep Jackson Dart for the last round pick because I picked him up off of waivers. Um, and then the other one that's really, really speaking to me is that I can keep Luther Burden for the last round pick because I've scooped him up off of waivers as well in that league.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to take the shot on Luther, even though I think Jackson Dart is the best, maybe the best value because of the position and the draft capital. But
I would take Dart. Anyways, probably should hop into the next team, which I'm repping here with my Trey Lance jersey on.
Very
with Trey
smooth
Lance
transition, David. Very
didn't
smooth.
really pan out for me in Dynasty. That was unfortunate.
Yes, we could talk about the San Francisco 49ers.
Sent about $80 billion overpay for Trey Lance.
What are you talking about?
In Dynasty, when you traded me Trey Lance and I paid like way too much and then he wasn't even the starter.
Sorry, I thought we transitioned to the 49ers and then I just like you were still talking about Trey Lance. So confused.
Well, just because, yeah.
That was a fun trade. Thanks for giving me those guys. I appreciate that. You got some good players with Trey Lance though, dude. You got Sam Howell and
then I got Anthony Richardson to pick.
Correct. And you gave me Kyler Murray? No? Yes?
I gave you Kyler Murray and Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Yeah.
That was it. In my defense, that's probably the only bad trade I've ever made in Dynasty. When I look back, everything else I feel like I did really well. So I'll take my loss there. But you also traded me Jordan Love for Jerome Ford, and I traded. Who did I trade? I traded Jerry Jeudy for James Cook straight up, and I also traded some freaking bum for Trey McBride straight up. And
Dalton Schultz, I think.
Yeah, it was Dalton Schultz. I think it was Dalton Schultz and like DeAndre Hopkins for Trey McBride, and then Trey McBride became the best tight end in fantasy. So I've done well, but I do have to acknowledge where I went wrong, and that was pretty freaking brutal. Anyways, can't keep talking about that, so let's hop into the Niners.
Yeah, so the 49ers, obviously, first want to give well wishes to the head coach. He was in a pretty bad car accident, it sounds like, and he's recovering. So prayers out to Kyle Shanahan as he heals from that. New offensive coordinator.
Was it the electrical substation? Do you think that caused the car accident? Maybe he crashed
into it.
Dude, that thing is gnarly.
Dude, Christian Kirk and Mike Evans are already hurt.
Yeah. I've been seeing Christian Kirk, man. It was probably not even going to make the roster, which I was surprised about. But the reports are saying he's like a pretty high cut candidate. So,
yeah, I think Christian Kirk's past it. That doesn't surprise me. New offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Raheem Morris came over from the Falcons. He's been the head coach there for a couple of years. He's the DC. I really like Raheem Morris as a DC. I just don't know about him as a head coach, but he always has been a great defensive coordinator in the NFL. And Clay Kubiak, there's too many Kubiaks, is the new offensive coordinator. I believe he was an internal promotion. Outgoing fantasy contributors, Jawan Jennings is gone. He plays for our Minnesota Vikings now. Outside of that, not a lot of production. Sky Moore, Kendrick Bourne, and Brian Robinson Jr. on the way out. Some big names coming in. Mike Evans came in as a free agent. He is going to be a huge part of this team now, especially with the Ricky Pearsall news. Christian Kirk, we talked about how he may not even make the roster. And then in response to the Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, Mike Evans injuries, they brought back Deebo Samuel. So we'll see how Deebo does back in San Fran. If anybody knows how to use him effectively, we all know it's Kyle Shanahan. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. 49ers were 12th in plays per game last year. They had a negative 0.9% pass rate over expectation, as close to neutral as you could get. Sixth in EPA per play, so they're a valuable offense. We already know that, though. 15th highest run percentage, 11th in points per game. What do you want to talk about with the 49ers, David? I think, assuming the injury's not terrible, Mike Evans is an insane value with the Ricky Pearsall news.
Yeah. That's really the only thing I want to talk about, honestly, 49ers wise, is Mike Evans. I guess a little bit Deebo Samuel, but yeah, Mike Evans is a great value. If he's healthy going into the season, which we'll see, he's a great value. He's going to be the wide receiver one in the offense. They have nobody else really competing besides Deebo, and Deebo is not a true wide receiver one. I expect to see him get back into that same kind of role that he was in there, kind of the gadget type guy, which will probably fare well for him. He could be a decent value as well, because I think he's kind of going undrafted right now, so
that'll get fixed by draft time, I think.
Yeah, wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him. But yeah, Mike Evans is the one at his value. If he starts moving up, I might be a little bit hesitant, but right now I'm in on it. Christian McCaffrey, we'll see. If he stays healthy, he's awesome.
Flip a coin. He's gonna be awesome, or he's gonna make you want to die. So
take your shot. If you pick him, you ride with him. We
should get better advice than that. You always draft as if a player's not going to get injured, right? So, like, Christian McCaffrey's great. Like, he's after the top 4 guys that I think David and I are very clear are the top 4. I think we would both rank him. Can I finish what I was saying?
Risk. Yeah.
Are you in agreement that after the top big 4 guy, he's 5th, clearly?
Yes, he's number 5.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's a riskier play, but his upside is he's RB1 upside, so.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that's all. I mean, that's really all I have to say.
If I had the 5th pick, I'd be taking him, assuming one of the top 4 guys doesn't slide to me. 6, 7, and 8, man. I don't want those picks. I'll tell you that. The other name I just want to throw out there is Deshaun Stribling. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about him in camp, and the injuries in front of him are happening. So I think we need to keep an eye on him because the 49ers, they find guys to do stuff that you wouldn't expect.
We're talking about these injuries. We should probably mention that Ricky Pearsall's out for the season, too.
I mentioned the Ricky Pearsall injury.
My bad.
That's okay. I didn't say he was out for the season, but I did say he was hurt. So Mike Evans is banged up. Christian Kirk might not make the roster. He's banged up. Ricky Pearsall's out for the year, right? So, like, it's Deebo and Stribling right now that I would say are the 2 healthy wide receivers. I think Mike Evans will be okay. I don't think it's supposed to be a super serious thing, but, like, with the way Deebo's used as more of a gadget slot in the backfield type guy, it wouldn't surprise me if Stribling's out there a lot. So just keep an eye on him. And then I think maybe we just need to mention, because we talk about Christian McCaffrey's health, right? Like, do you have any sense of who you want to own if you're the Christian McCaffrey manager as the RB2 on that roster?
What's his name? I can't remember his name. James? Is it Jordan James? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's one of the names. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Black.
No, I heard he's the 2. Like, 100%. If he goes down, he's the guy.
We'll see. I've been hearing a lot more about he's a rookie. I don't know if he was drafted or undrafted, but I can't even remember his first name, but his last name's Black. And I've heard that Garendo is, like, out of the picture. So
Garendo's hurt, so that's why.
Yeah. And that, like, even if he wasn't hurt, he's out of the picture. Like, he's just not what they're envisioning for the future.
Jordan James is the 2 right now. I saw a report from, like, the 49ers or 49ers reporters that he's, like, the clear 2.
Okay, I haven't seen those reports, so I'll have to defer to David on that. So if you do draft Christian McCaffrey, you need to draft his backup. It's one of those non-negotiable situations. Anything to add about the 49ers? All right, we'll move into the LA Rams. We haven't really said anything about this as we go through this podcast and this segment of shows with the divisional breakdowns, but who's your Super Bowl pick, David? Because mine's these guys right here, LA Rams.
Figured we'd talk about that on another show.
No, we're going to talk about it on the divisional breakdown shows.
Well, in that case, it's the Rams.
Okay, so David and I are in agreement. That's boring.
Who's not? I mean, you see there's like an 87% chance on Polymarket and Kelce that Aaron Donald comes back too? It's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah?
They're just by far better than anybody else. It's really not close. Like,
yeah, it's the NFL. You never know, but they're definitely my favorite team right now.
If they stay healthy, it's over.
David says a lot of things like "no, for sure," and then he's wrong. So,
I'm always right. I told you Sam Darnold was great enough to lead the Seahawks to a Super Bowl.
He couldn't even get that one out. He's right a lot of times, but he says everything with 100% confidence. Like there's no way he's wrong, and he's wrong a fair bit as well.
Maybe 10% of the time.
I think I phrase my takes a little bit more like this is how I view it, and David phrases his takes like this is what it is.
Because I know ball, baby.
0 fantasy championships.
Has nothing to do with picking the Super Bowl champion, by the way.
No, but you phrase your takes like that in regards to players as well.
And I'm right. I don't know what else to tell you.
Not all the time you're not.
Oh, but I am. Well,
definitely not all the time.
That's why I always end up convincing you of my takes, and then you
remember when in the
right
first
into the trap
dynasty,
with me.
Remember in the first dynasty draft we did, the first dynasty
you
startup?
Shut up! I don't want to talk about Trey Sermon.
Had to get Trey Sermon, dude. That guy was the truth.
Okay. How you get Trey Sermon, bro? Because he was gonna be good, and then he got hurt.
Anyways, David was talking about Trey Sermon the way he talks about everything else. There's no way Trey Sermon's not a star. Trey Sermon's for sure going to be the RB1 on the 49ers. Trey Sermon's going to be amazing. He's going to be a top 5 running back.
He got hurt in training camp, okay?
Trey Sermon wasn't that good to begin with. Anyways, LA Rams. As we discussed, Mike LaFleur is over to the Cardinals as the new head coach. Nate Scheelhaus was promoted internally to the OC. That's not going to change their offense at all.
Sean McVay offense.
Well, and Nate Scheelhaus was getting head coaching interviews, so he's very widely respected in the NFL. I kind of wanted the Steelers to take a shot on him. They did manage to keep their defensive coordinator, Chris Shula, as well, who was getting tons of interviews to be a head coach as well. Yeah, the Rams may have the best coaching staff in addition to the best roster.
I was going to say, they're keeping their defensive coordinator matters way more. Who cares who their offensive coordinator is? McVay's going to be the one running this show. So
well, again, like, if it was some bum that nobody cared about, I would say, yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter because it's McVay. But, like,
no, I know.
From what I understand, this Nate Scheelhaus guy is like a savant.
Yeah, like, but I feel like it's similar to like the Vikings. Like, you don't really care who the offensive.
David just dropped something.
Who the offensive coordinator is because the Vikings.
Yes, David. What I'm telling you is he is so good that I do care. That's what I'm trying to say. He is so good and he is so well regarded in the NFL, especially for his pass scheming. That's what he was. He was the passing game coordinator. That I care that they retained him and he's the offensive coordinator now. Again, if he was some average coordinator, agreed, like Sean McVay runs the show, it doesn't matter. But I'm saying he elevates it even more
that's
being
fair.
There with Sean McVay because he's that good.
My point is just if Sean McVay's there, it's pretty solid offense regardless. But you're right as well.
Yeah. They didn't lose a lot. Tutu Atwell's on the way out. Devastating blow.
No.
They didn't add a ton either. Ty Simpson was drafted in round 1, quarterback out of Alabama.
That
Um,
was such an odd pick to me. And then they go
I've
trade for Myles Garrett right after that. Like, you're gonna draft like a future quarterback and then send away your future for Myles Garrett and then just try to win again. Like, why
I
not
mean, I think the
draft a
idea is they
contributor?
want to be able to just plug in a new quarterback with the same roster and keep winning.
It's
I'm
fair,
not
but
saying
I
it's
don't
going to
know if
work,
that's Ty
but
Simpson.
oh, it's definitely not. I've watched Ty Simpson play live. He's buns. He's not
Yeah,
good.
I don't think he's
Um,
good. Yeah.
he's one of the few guys I can say I've seen play football live. He's not good at all.
One of the
Uh,
few guys I can see
one of
seen
the
play
few first
football
round picks that I
live.
could say I've seen. And when I say live, I don't mean on TV. Like I watched him with my own
No,
eyes in the
I
stadium.
know.
He's
Yes.
not good. And he
Mr. Drew
crumbles on.
made the trip out to Alabama.
I did go to Tuscaloosa. Um, yeah, he's just not. He's not it. Personally, that's my opinion. Um, they did draft a tight end in round 2 as well. Max Clare out of Ohio State. I feel like Ohio State tight ends aren't very good usually in the NFL. Doesn't that feel like that's the case? Like a
Yeah, I mean,
little
realistically,
Cade Stover action.
yeah, I
Like
don't expect much. Talking about their offense for fantasy, I mean, it's pretty similar to last year. Davante Adams is going a little too high in redraft. His value in dynasty is actually pretty solid. If you're a contributor, he's a
if
late
you're a
pick,
contender, you mean?
or if you're a contender, Stafford also same thing. His value's in the toilet in both leagues. So I mean, you can pick him up at the very end of the draft. He's probably going to be solid. He was the MVP last year. And then Puka's a stud. Everybody else in the offense. Kyron, I guess. Kyron, I feel is safe. People are worried about it. They
Yeah.
paid
What
him.
about Blake
He's going to be
Corum?
good. Blake Corum, I'm not going to be probably touching. I'd rather have Kyron in his. I don't know. But yeah, I like Kyron still. Not worried. They just paid, like I said, they just paid him. Corum's going to get worked in, but he was worked in last year. It didn't matter. Kyron was still a solid fantasy contributor. If I'm talking about who I want Puka. I'd take a shot on Adams and based off his value, just as like a wide receiver 2 to a flex. And then Kyron is a safe RB2 to me. Stafford, easy flyer late if you wait on quarterback. That's about all in that offense.
Is
Everybody
there
else
any
I wouldn't
juice in
be
the tight
touching.
end room?
Not for fantasy. Too many other contributors.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine taking the shot on Stafford late. He's not going to cost you much, especially in a super flex 2 quarterback type league. Um, I really, really like Puka. Definitely he's a top 4 player in fantasy this year in the draft season. I think everybody kind of rates those 4 players in different orders, which is kind of fun. It's nice when there's not a big consensus number 1, number 2, number 3.
The thing is too, like when Stafford or when Adams is there, that does slightly hurt like Kyron Williams because we've seen how much Stafford loves to go to Adams on like the 2 yard line. Like he's an absolute ball magnet, and if he's there, that's not going to change. And so
It
Kyron, like
actually hurts. I mean, it's crazy to
it
say
hurts
something
Puka
hurts
too.
Puka,
Yeah,
but like
it
Puka
does
doesn't
hurt Puka.
score
He
because
doesn't
of it.
catch as many touchdowns. No, Puka
Yeah.
catches his touchdowns from 15, 20 yards out. He doesn't catch his touchdowns from inside the 10 yard line because guess what? Oh, we're on the 5 yard line. Guess what play we're running? A fade to Davante Adams because he catches it every freaking time. That's why he scored 4 touchdowns against me in a fantasy match
Oh,
last
I was
year when
wondering
he's
why David was
33.
getting so animated.
So, yeah, I mean, that's why Adams is valuable. He catches touchdowns, and that's not going to change with Matthew Stafford throwing in the ball. It's like the perfect fit. And so, yeah, it hurts the other guys touchdown-wise.
Yeah,
So, actually, Puka's only going to get better when Adams retires.
yeah. I mean, from like a dynasty perspective, like we're in a super flex league, so quarterbacks are more valuable. But like Puka might be like my number 1 want to have player in dynasty.
The only thing, though, it's a weird concept because, like, okay, he's going to get better when Adams retires, but the question mark is Stafford's old. Stafford leaves, who's going to be the quarterback? So it's like around the same time Adams is coming out of the league, you're also losing Stafford. So it's kind of a wash because no one's going to be as good for for Puka as Stafford. Stafford feeds the ball to his guys more than almost anybody does. And
That's
so
a fair
it's
point.
interesting. It's very interesting because the timeline's so similar. It's not like, oh, his quarterback's 29 and Adams is going to retire. And then you'll still have 3, 4, 5, 3 probably years where Puka's still young and the quarterback's still in his prime. You don't
Don't
have
worry,
that.
bro. He's got Ty Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. We just said that he's going to suck. So it is a very good question mark and something to kind of think about. That's why I don't know if he is my wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, just because right now his ceiling is capped touchdown wise. And then when his ceiling is finally not capped touchdown wise, you probably don't have Stafford. So it is a little bit concerning for me.
He's younger than the other guys you're considering at the wide receiver 1 though, right? Like he's younger than Jamar Chase. He's not.
Yeah, but like Chase is tied to Burrow, and Burrow's going to keep getting him the ball. And Burrow has the way he plays, he
For
has
sure.
a long career left. So that's why like someone like Chase is a little safer to me. And even some of the younger guys, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing to bring up because, like we said, those two different timelines that are good and bad, they coincide very similar. So
Yeah, definitely. So you have Puka number 3 in fantasy this year on your draft board. Behind the 2 running backs.
is that a fact? Like you're looking at my rankings, or you?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, let me look. I don't have my like thing. I have him as my number 1 receiver for fantasy this year. I actually think he's maybe like 2. I think I would rather have Gibbs and then him.
So you'd rather have Puka than Bijan.
Yes.
Interesting. I think David and I have both cooled on Bijan a little bit, which is interesting. When we say cool, like we would take him in the top 4, just not number 1.
He's the safest, like floor consistent running back. He just doesn't have that big play. He doesn't make those big plays like Gibbs does. He's a very consistent running back. If you look, his like explosiveness and like long run rate is just a lot lower than someone like him or like Puka who makes big plays and has huge weeks. Like Bijan doesn't do that as much. He gets like 18, 20 points on a good amount of carries, catches a couple balls, but his like runs over 20 yards per year is like really low actually compared to most running backs in the NFL.
And part of it is he doesn't have a dynamic offense around him, so he's so focused.
It's fair, but that is it doesn't matter this year in fantasy. It's the same situation, and so
correct.
He's my safe like RB, but like I'd rather have Gibbs or Puka to upside.
That's interesting because I've actually got Jamar Chase number 2 and Puka number 3. Like I said, this is what we're talking about. I feel like it's not very often that there's like this much debate around the top few guys. I definitely have Gibbs number 1, and I know David does as well. But yeah, I've just been.
But if you want to see, like, everybody listens to me because, like, a month ago, Bijan was the consensus 1, and I said Gibbs. And guess what? All of a sudden, Gibbs is the consensus 1.
I said Gibbs
1.
too.
I know you did, but, like, everybody listens to me because I'm a genius. So, what I'll tell you is.
I'm surprised you didn't have any comment about Jamar Chase over Puka.
Maybe it's a little biased because Jamar Chase has done me wrong twice, I think, when I drafted him. So I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, for me it's simple. The Rams have the number 1 toughest schedule for wide receivers this year in the NFL. I think that Matt Stafford and Joe Burrow, right? Like they both have health concerns. They both get hurt. So I'm gonna throw that out the window and
but Matt
go
Stafford
off of the idea
that crap, and Joe Burrow,
dude, his back is made of glass, dude. One hit and Matt Stafford's career is over.
Dude, we were talking about that last year, and guess who won the freaking MVP?
That's what I'm saying. Like if it doesn't happen, like fantastic, right? But it's the same thing with Joe Burrow. If he doesn't get injured,
it's fair. It's fair.
And the Bengals.
That's why I have Puka
the Bengals
over him.
Defense improved from like worst in the league to like probably like 25th best in the league.
But I
They're
don't think that
still going to
helps
need to score
Chase.
points. No, it does help Chase because they have to score points and they have to throw. Like, why do you think Jamar Chase is always like, as soon as they got Joe Flacco, he was a beast again because they had to score 38 points every game.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Better
Um,
defense means less points needed than before, so lower
my
ceiling.
point is they improved from terrible to really bad.
Yeah, but it
That's my
still
point.
hurts the ceiling cap a little bit. You have to score what, like a touchdown less a game, maybe?
No, they
That's
didn't
one
improve.
less.
They didn't improve that much on defense. Not even close. A touchdown a game? No way. Um, and their schedule is so easy. They have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL for wide receivers, for quarterbacks, for scoring in general. I
It's
am
fair.
all in on the Bengals
But
pieces this year.
we are not
Um,
talking about the Bengals,
so
so we should probably
I
hop
know, but
back on
we're
track.
talking about the Jamar Chase Puka thing. I think it's fair to
We'll
talk
have that
about.
talk in our wide receiver rankings episode.
Guys, if you can't tell, David has somewhere to go, and he wants this show to be over.
That's not true. I do have somewhere to go, but this is the type of talk that we should be having when we're talking receiver rankings.
I think we should have it whenever it comes up because it's good for people to hear, and who knows which episode somebody's going to hear. So we can say it a couple different times. So make sure everybody hears it.
I think you should do something that I need to now turn. Just kidding.
Anyways, David says Puka over Chase. I say Chase over Puka. Draft either
I
one.
say
They're going to be good.
Justin Jefferson.
No, you don't. Should we talk Super Bowl champs?
Yeah.
All right. Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. The offensive coordinator is gone. He's over in Las Vegas as the new head coach. We talked about that when we talked about the love for Ashton Genty. Brian Fleury is the new offensive coordinator. I think that's important to talk about. I think it's going to hurt the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker is gone in free agency over to Kansas City. That's going to hurt the Seahawks. They did draft Jadarian Price in the first round. Two running backs from the same team in the first round. Interesting. He went pick number 32, last pick of the first round, the running back out of Notre Dame. And they also signed Emmanuel Wilson, I guess, which provides some depth. They were 20th in plays per game last year. Negative 6.8% pass rate over expectation. That's why outside of JSN, the Super Bowl champions didn't give you anybody who gave you what you wanted, pass catching wise. They just didn't throw the ball enough. And when they did, it always went to JSN. 14th in EPA per play. They had the third highest running percentage in the NFL. That is the Kubiak system that we're talking about is now gone. So we do need to discuss how their play calling and their offense might change. They did score 29.2 points per game, which was second most in the NFL. So they scored. David, I want to talk about the coaching staff changes and how that impacts the offense. But is there anything that you would prefer to talk about first?
I'll talk a tiny bit about Price. I like Price at his ADP. Redraft, Dynasty, doesn't matter. I think he's clearly RB1. We know, why is his name slipping my
Zach
mind?
Charbonnet.
Yes, banged up already. Don't know when he'll be back for sure. But Price, I mean, they took first round capital on him. If you draft a running back in the first round, you're going to play him. He might be in the Kenneth Walker role, but that doesn't matter. That's fantasy relevancy. And so I like him at his ADP. And then jumping over to Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'm a huge JSN guy. He's probably one of, if not my favorite receivers in the NFL. But I think that at his ADP right now, I'm kind of out on him. I think he's going to have a worse year than last year. We see that the Seahawks, their passing rate was one of the lowest in the NFL. I'll just actually pull it up. They threw the ball at the 28th highest rate in the NFL. That does not usually result in a great season for a receiver. It only did because such a high target share went to JSN. But I also expect defensive coordinators and defenses in general to start to figure out how to stop him a little bit after that breakout year. And with that passing rate, and I'm expecting a lower target share, lower catches, I don't love drafting him because I think you're kind of getting him at his ceiling. And I don't like to draft players at their ceiling. I like to draft players that can go higher than where you're getting them. And I like other receivers like Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson in that range more because I think they can have a better season.
So to play devil's advocate, the offensive coordinator that drove that whole running game and that whole play call breakdown in terms of run pass is gone. So what are the odds the Seahawks just throw the ball a lot more frequently this year?
I don't think you change the formula when you win the Super Bowl the year before. It just doesn't happen. They're gonna keep
I
that
think
same
you change the
model.
formula if it doesn't work as well, which I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, maybe later in the season once you figure out it's not working, but overall that caps the ceiling of a player like that. The first 5 weeks they're running the ball a ton and they're not getting him like it just hurts that the ceiling isn't there. You need to have it the whole season to be performing as a mid first round pick.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure they're gonna run the ball at that high of a clip from the start. Um, but we'll see. Again, I said I was playing devil's advocate. In general, I agree with you. I think that JSN is, like I said, I don't want to be in the 6, 7, 8 range because I don't want to be the one who's deciding between JSN, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. I don't want to have to make the choice. I want to be picking 9 or 10 and pick the ones that fall to me and then know that I didn't have a
Yeah,
choice. They were
and that's
there. I
where
took
I'm
them.
at. And I'm doing
Can you
just
please turn your phone on silent?
it's coming through my computer. That's my bad.
You're good. Um,
I'm scared of that
we're
stupid
just
glitch
getting big.
happening if I
We're just
miss my
getting
volume.
big loud dings.
Guys, I'm a well-liked guy. My phone's blowing up. Sorry. Drew can't really relate.
Wow. I like Jadarian Price too. I think he's undervalued, underrated because he got even overshadowed at his own school, um, in college. So, yeah, I like Jadarian Price. I don't love the thought of having to rely on him as a starter right away in a redraft league. So if I do get Jadarian Price, I'm targeting him as like my third or fourth running back, ideally, so that I don't have the pressure to have to play him right away. But I think, a few weeks in, you're going to want to be playing him. So that's
Yeah,
kind of where I
I
am on
agree.
Jadarian
I like him
Price.
as like a flex at the highest. Like you draft him to be like a flex, but then I also, if you're drafting something like that, you want to draft like a veteran that's a safe floor that you could also flex maybe to start the season. So like, let's say you go Price, you might want to go someone like a DeAndre Swift that you can flex right there, or RB. If you're drafting to be your RB2, then like you know what I mean. You want like a safe floor, like a Montgomery, a Swift that you can play until you see that Price is playable type thing, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah,
at their
100%.
ADPs, that's how it works. Like also in Dynasty, like Swift, I was just watching a video. His value in Dynasty is really really good. Like you you get him in the 9th, 10th round, and he's easily a flex play. And I'll talk about this more in a different episode, but recently the trends are is that those mid-range running backs outperform the mid-range receivers. So you really do in the modern day NFL right now, you want to be flexing running backs. And so players like that are good value. And so anyways, the point is if you're drafting a young guy like Price, you might want to take a more proven safe floor veteran to play until you are able to start him and feel comfortably doing so.
Totally agree. Good breakdown there. Um, anything to add? Kenneth Walker, he's gone, but we talked about how Price is going to kind of come in. We talked about how things could change with the play calling and the offensive coordinator. I worry about that a lot. Mike McDonald is a very good coach, but he's also a defensive coach. So this isn't a Sean McVay head coach losing his offensive coordinator and replacing him. This is a defensive minded head coach who delegated the entire offensive scheme and play calling to the guy who is no longer there. So they lost the Sean McVay. They didn't lose the guy under Sean McVay in their particular coaching setup. So I do worry that this is going to hurt the Seahawks. I worry they're not going to be as efficient and good on offense. I always worry about a little regression from somebody who's been career-wise inconsistent in Sam Darnold. So I do think the Seahawks are going to take a step back this year. But this division could have 3 teams again in the playoffs, right, David?
100%. Yeah. I'd say
they all get 2 free wins, so that helps.
Probably 2 of them make it. I guess actually, this will be a good transition, I guess, into division predictions. But since it's the last episode, I can release who I think is going to make the playoffs. And
sure, go for it.
That answer is, let me make sure this lines up with my...
But before you do that, I'm going to leave everybody on a cliffhanger. Can we do our divisional predictions first?
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure this lines up with my final divisional predictions. But I'll just speak for both of us, I guess, real quick. If you want to chime in, you can. But me and Drew have the same division predictions. 1, Rams. We both said they're winning the Super Bowl, so obviously we think they're going to win the division. 2, we have the 49ers. We think they're going to be bouncing back a little bit. Obviously, they were really good last year, but I think the reason we think they finished second is we see the downgrade for the Seahawks. So we have the Seahawks in 3rd, fringe wildcard team maybe, but definitely regression. Like we said, we think their play style is going to take a hit.
The Cardinals are 4th.
And the Cardinals 4th. And then, with that, I think I'll
Can I just say something real quick? I'm going to cut David off for his playoff predictions one more time. Sorry, David. I love a late tight end, so I do just have to give a big old shout out. You can take a stab on Jake Tonjes with George Kittle injury right now.
Definitely don't hate it, especially with the other receivers already banged up. Good shout. All right, now the moment everybody's been waiting for. I have in the 7 seed. Drum roll, please, Drew. The Chicago Bears.
Didn't you pick the Bears to finish 3rd in the NFC North?
I did.
Actually, you picked them to finish 4th.
Did I?
Yes.
No, I picked them 3rd. I picked the Lions to finish 4th.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I picked the Lions to finish 4th. I have it right here.
Wow. Okay, anyways, the Bears making the playoffs is wild.
Yes. Bears 3rd. Bears in the 7 seed. In the 6 seed, I have the greatest team of all time, the Minnesota Vikings, finishing 2nd in the NFC North. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to have 3 NFC North teams, and we know who my NFC North division winner is. So in the 5 seed, I have the 49ers. I have them making it as a wild card. In the 4 seed, I need to make sure this lines up actually with what I ended up putting because anyways, this is my NFC South winner and I went back and forth. But I believe I stuck with I did. No, I picked the Falcons.
You went with the Falcons, yeah.
So yes,
that was one of the Falcons
in the 4 seed.
That was one of the other weird things you did.
In the 3 seed, I have the Cowboys. In the 2 seed, I have Green Bay. In the 1 seed, I have the LA Rams. And then in the AFC, pick the Texans to get the 7 seed, the Patriots 6, Ravens 5, the Bengals get the 4, the Chargers the 3, the Jaguars the 2, and the Bills the 1. And then my Super Bowl prediction, we already know I have the Rams, but I have the Rams defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars in the Super Bowl this year. Interesting. And Drew doesn't have any of this stuff written down, so you only get one perspective. But we could. Who do you got?
Where was this? I didn't even see this part.
I put it on the. It's in the stats sheet.
It was hiding on the last tab. Yeah, I see it now.
We don't have to get your whole playoff predictions, but
I can go through it. I can go through it quick. I have a decent idea of what I think. So I agree with David. I have the Rams as the number 1 seed in the NFC. So I'll put them at number 1 for sure. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions as the 2. Their schedule is just so good for them. I think they're gonna win more games than they're actually worth, we'll say. I've got the Dallas Cowboys finishing as the 3. And then my surprise division winner, what do you know, another NFC South team in the 4 seed. It's going to be the New Orleans Saints. They're my surprise division winner out of the NFC. Number 1 wild card in the NFC. I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. I do think they'll bounce back a little bit. I have them as the 5. I think the Eagles are going to be the number 2 team out of the NFC East, and I have them as the 6. And then I think that 7 seed is going to come right down to the wire between 3 teams. It's going to be the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Seattle Seahawks, but the Packers are going to be the last team to get that 7 seed. Vikings and Seahawks just missing the playoffs for the NFC. And I've got the Rams going to the Super Bowl from the NFC, as I already said, and I have them as my Super Bowl champion. From the AFC, I've got Buffalo winning the AFC East. They're definitely a contender for the number 1 seed in the AFC. My other one, David's not going to like, but I think there's a real chance that the Texans get the number 1 seed this year. I really, really like them, but I am going to go with the Bills as the number 1 seed in the AFC. I'm going to take the Texans, NFC South champions, as the number 2. I think that the Baltimore Ravens will likely finish as the number 3 seed, NFC North or AFC North champions, excuse me. And then I've got the Kansas City Chiefs as the 4. I think that NFC West is going to beat up on itself a little bit and make it hard to have a super strong division winner. But I think the Chiefs just barely sneak it out. When we talk about the division beating up on itself a little bit, I do still like the Chargers as a wild card. I don't think they'll be the number 1 wild card team. I'm going to give that position. I'm debating between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati. I've got finishing 3rd in the division. That's right. Yeah, so I'm going to give it to Jacksonville. I think they're going to be the number 1 wild card team in the AFC. I think they'll finish as the 5. I'm going to give the Chargers the 6 seed. I think they'll finish as the second best team in the AFC West. And then again, I think that 7 seed race is going to be really, really close. And again, I think it's going to come down to a few different teams. I think it's going to come down to the Steelers, Bengals, and Broncos. We'll see who comes out of there. My gut is the Steelers find a way, but wouldn't surprise me if it was the Bengals. And then my Super Bowl prediction from the AFC, I'm just all in on them this year. I think the Houston Texans go to the Super Bowl this year. So David and I like whoever wins the AFC South to make the Super Bowl. So I've got Rams, Texans in the Super Bowl. Talk about 2 amazing defenses, but I think the Rams will be Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, and then hate to do this, but I'm gonna jump into my verse, and then I might have to let Drew close out the show. Got a date night with the fiance, so gotta get on the road, unfortunately. But I will.
Now you guys know why he doesn't win any fantasy championships.
Get that out there quick. The verse today is Luke 12:24. Consider the ravens; they neither sow nor reap; they neither storehouse nor barn, and yet God feeds them. Of how much more value are you than the birds? This is just a reminder that God, even the lowest of His creation, He provides for them with what they need. And then it talks about if He takes care of them, how much more important are we as humans, His greatest creation, and that we really need to not worry that God's going to provide for us all the time, and that's just something to keep on your mind. A little bit more simple explanation than typical, maybe partly because I have to leave, but also a pretty easy verse to break down. So yeah, just a reminder that God will provide for you. He provides for everybody, every creature, even the smallest. And so not to have fear going through your week. God will provide. Keep praying and believing that that's possible. And yeah, I'll let Drew wrap up the show. Thanks everybody for listening. Excited to get into some rankings starting at the end of this week. Peace out, everybody.
Amen, David. Thanks for sharing. Have a good night. I'll just close out the show. Do just want to apologize. Coming back from, I was coming back from Portugal, as you guys know, and we had kind of taken a week off on the episodes, and then once I got back, things were a little bit crazy, so we weren't able to get the episodes out last week as quickly as we wanted to, so we only did one instead of two. We do apologize for that, and thank you for bearing with us. This show will be going out on its regular schedule on Tuesday, August 4th. So be ready for that one when you hear it, and then we will be back on schedule. So there will be an episode this Friday as well, which the date on that one is August 7th. And as David alluded to, we will be jumping out of our divisional coverage and into our rankings shows, which are really, really fun. We're going to be covering quarterbacks and tight ends on Friday's episode. So please tune in for that. We're going to give you our rankings, tell you who we like better than the other in a vacuum, but we're also going to be able to add a lot of context to that in terms of draft position and where we think the right value is. Because sometimes it's better to take your number 8 ranked quarterback with your 12th pick than it is to take your number 1 with your second round pick or something like that. So we're going to talk value in terms of where they fall ADP wise and draft wise, and then also just some comparison of the players, especially the ones where David and I may differ just a little bit. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with you on Friday. And then as we move into next week, we'll be talking running backs on Tuesday and wide receivers on the following Friday. So good stuff coming here in the next week or two in regards to rankings, and really looking forward to sharing that stuff with you. Just a reminder, again, you can find these episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We're the Fantasy Facts Podcast. We're over on X at The Fantasy Facts, TikTok and Instagram, fantasy.facts. As always, facts is spelled F-A-X. I'm going to sign off the show. David already said bye, and we will see you all on Friday for some fantasy rankings. Can't wait. Thank you. Appreciate you all, and we will see you on Friday.